What's up, guys? We're back for another week of the A-Game, and we are ending this semester on a high note. App State football won the first ever Sunbelt Championship game over the Louisiana Raging Cajuns in Kid Brewer Stadium.
The football team will travel to Louisiana to play in the R&L New Orleans Bowl in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome on December 15th.
Mountaineer Spotlight host Jay Boyd joins us right here in the studio today. And stay tuned for our Player of the Week. For the final time this semester, I'm Austen Lopp.
And I'm Gray Salter, and you're watching the A-Game.
The first ever Sunbelt Championship was played in Boone on Saturday, and the Mountaineers were able to use their home field advantage to capture their third straight conference championship against the Louisiana Raging Cajuns. Despite the constant rain that fell over Kid Brewer on Saturday, the Sunbelt shined bright on the Neers, holding the Cajuns to just 365 total offensive yards, while the Mountaineers whipped up over 600. With the season coming to a close and the goal of going 4-for-4 in bowl games since joining the FBS in 2015, the Mountaineers turned their sights to New Orleans for a matchup against the MTSU Blue Raiders in the R&L Carriers Bowl on December 15th. And Gray, we had a huge game this past weekend. What were a few things that stood out to you?
I think Darrington Evans obviously is a guy who we've pretty much brought up every week. I mean, he's been a very consistent running back for the Mountaineers and come up big since Jalen Moore was gone. He rushed for 111 yards on 17 carries, broke 1,000 yards for the season, which is, wildly impressive considering he's only started 6 games this year since that Jalen Moore injury. He broke 100 yards in a couple games with Moore also as kind of a two-back tandem, but he's really just, carried that rushing load for App State even with Jalen Moore out, definitely showing that maybe he's NFL worthy once he gets when he wants to try to make it in the NFL. I think he can do it.
Absolutely.
He also was big in the return game. He had 2 returns for 107 yards, one of those a 95-yard return that put the App State Mountaineers right on the goal line, which was a huge deal. So I think Evans came up in a lot of different facets on Saturday.
Absolutely, and Darrington played great. We're looking at Zach a lot as well. He went 6 for 13, only threw the ball, like I said, threw the ball 13 times, 124 total yards, and 2 total touchdowns, both on the ground. So that rushing game, even with the quarterback, still coming out strong more than the passing game. 225 total team rushing yards, and only 4 receivers had catches, and no one had more than 2 catches for the whole game. So that we saw the passing slow down so that the rushing game could get going a little bit stronger.
Definitely. I think the weather probably had an impact on that too. Very rainy day at Kid Brewer Stadium in that game. The wind was whipping around quite a bit. Everybody bundled up. So that definitely played a factor with Zach trying to throw the football. I think the weather, though, provided a good setting for the defense. Once again, the App State defense came up huge.
Lockdown.
Yeah, absolutely locked down. Tons of good stuff coming from them. Anthony Flory and Jordan Fair, the middle linebacker and outside linebacker there for App State, 2 stars for this team, combined for 21 total tackles. I believe Fair had 11 and Flory had 10, which was unbelievable. The team had 4 tackles for a loss in that game, so putting a lot of pressure up on the backfield, and that caused the downfield play to be a little sloppy for Louisiana at times. A couple bad throws forced by that pressure. Tay Hayes came up with an interception. Josh Thomas, the safety, also came up with an interception. So defense did exactly what they needed to close that game out.
Absolutely, and somebody I'm looking at here that we don't get to bring up a lot is Chandler Staten. This is App State fans, students, we've all had kind of a heartbreak when it comes to kickers. We don't really trust them that much because of things that happened in the past. This game alone, 12 points, 3 for 3 field goals, and 3 for 3 on extra points. 8 for 9 on the season for field goals, and the longest is 53. Only one he missed was that game, I think it was the game-tying field goal against Penn State. Right. So since game 1, he hasn't missed another field goal. Super impressive for sure. And so helped us get to where we're at now, the bowl game. So we win the conference championship. It happens, and we get a really, really good bowl game. We're going to New Orleans on December 15th for the R&L Carriers Bowl. And so what are you looking at? We're going to be playing Middle Tennessee. What are you looking at this week or next week?
First of all, I think it's awesome that App has finally made this New Orleans Bowl, because typically the winner of the Sunbelt Championship does go to the New Orleans Bowl. App's won back-to-back-to-back Sunbelt titles now. The thing is the first 2 were ties because there wasn't the Sunbelt Championship game. So Louisiana actually went the first year App won the title with them. Troy went last year, And so now App State finally gets their chance to compete in that bowl game as the sole winners of the Sun Belt. But Mid-Tennessee State, definitely not a team to overlook. They had a pretty good season, 8-5 on the year. Looking at their schedule, some common opponents that they had with App was only one actually in Charlotte, and they only beat Charlotte by 8 points. It was a pretty tight matchup, so that's definitely something to look out for. But on the flip side, they played number 17 Kentucky. Kentucky's been on an absolute tear this season, and they only lost 34-23. So that was a pretty tight matchup actually for MTSU against a really, really tough SEC opponent. They're only allowing 25.3 points per game, and App State has scored right around there pretty much the last couple games. So I think that may play into a factor of App State kind of hitting that mark once again. And they actually lost the Conference USA Championship to UAB 27-25 after playing UAB the week before that and winning 27-3. So MTSU is definitely a team that can compete, and they're going to grind against App State the same way they do against anybody else.
For sure. And the Legion of Boone is going to have their work cut out for them this week. MTSU's quarterback Brent Stockstill has thrown the ball over 800 times this year. Very, very, very productive quarterback. Passed for over 200 yards in 9 games of the season. And in his streak right now, 6 straight games with over 200 yards. So that Legion of Boone is going to have a lot of work, and we're hoping that we know that they can do it. It's not really a question. The only stat that they actually best App in is their passing yards per game. So again, that passing game is going to decide how that game ends up for the Mountaineers.
Could absolutely be an air raid. I wonder, just like the weather was a little bit of an issue for Zach Thomas in this championship game, only completing 6 passes, if they go down to New Orleans and that weather happens to be bad again, that may hurt MTSU with as much as they throw the football.
Right.
Coming up after the break, A-Game reporters Nicole and Michael hit the App State campus, and Mountaineers Spotlight host Jay Boyd joins us in studio.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Okay, so can you name all 8 of Santa's reindeer?
Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Rudolph. That's all I got.
That's all you got?
Yes.
All right. Pretty good. I mean, that's 4. I don't know if Rudolph, though, is actually one of the reindeer, but he was a late addition.
So can you name all 8 reindeer of Santa's?
Oh, I know Rudolph. I don't know anyone else. I don't know the other ones.
You got none, 7 else? I thought I knew 2, so you're making me feel a little good.
So in the spirit of the season, Christmas is coming up, can you name all 8 of Santa's reindeer?
Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid.
Donner, Blitzen.
Yeah.
Wow, I think y'all are the first ones to get them all right. Honestly, good job. Hey, okay. Can you name all 8 of Santa's reindeer?
I know Prancer. And is Rudolph even count? Is that canon?
I don't know if he counts or not, but we'll count it for you, just for you.
All right.
So I want to know, since we're in Christmas, can you name all 8 reindeer of Santa's?
I know Rudolph.
1. You got 7 to go.
I know Dasher. That's all I know.
Well, you beat one other person. He could name 1, so you did that at least. Okay. Since we're in the Christmas spirit, I just want to know, can you name all 8 reindeer of Santa's?
No, I definitely cannot. There was Rudolph.
Everyone's gotten that one.
Yeah, like that's all I got for you, and I should know this. Vixen,
Yes.
Dancer. There's another D.
There is.
Yeah.
Some people only name 2, so don't feel bad.
So 3, like I'm at least not last.
Yes, you're not last, not first, so we're in the middle. Happy medium.
Okay, well, hey, I feel good because at first I had one.
And then also I want to know, so what do you think the final score of tomorrow's championship game will be?
Oh, it's going to be like, I'm going to go with App 42, Louisiana 17.
Okay, so what do you think the score will be for this weekend's championship game?
I think it's going to be a real rager. I think App State's definitely going to win. I think the marching band's really going to pull us through.
Nice. Marching band. Are you on marching band?
Yeah. Spin flags.
And so what do you think the final score of the championship game tomorrow is going to be?
I'm going to say 48-32 App.
Wow, that's a really high scoring game.
Would you rather get 5 presents off your wish list or not have to take finals?
Definitely not have to take finals, for sure. I don't have a very long wish list, but
Well, what's on your wish list?
I really want a mermaid blanket, like one of the ones that like you pull up over you in this tail. Yeah, it's kind of childish, but definitely.
No, that's definitely really cool.
Okay, and so I got would you rather here. Would you rather get 5 things off your wish list this Christmas or not take exams at all?
I would not take exams. Yeah.
I don't blame you for that.
If you could get 5 things off your wish list, would you rather do that or would you rather not have to take finals?
My finals aren't that hard this year, so probably my wish list.
Okay. Fair.
And I don't know about you guys, but I definitely feel like I can name all the reindeer. Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, Blitzen, and somebody who's really slept on, Rudolph. You know, depending on who you talk to, he might not even be called an actual reindeer, which I think is ridiculous. We got to change that lingo from 8 to 9 reindeer because he's lighting up the sky for Santa. So, question for you guys though. Would you rather have 5 things taken off of your holiday list or not have to take any of your exams?
I think I would take off 5 things from my wish list. Like, if I could have anything on my wish list, I think not having exams would probably make my wish list. So, I'd definitely scratch the top 5 off for
Flip that
for
around
no
a little
exams.
bit. I
Yeah.
like that. Okay, what about you,
I
Jay?
agree. I'm going 5 things as well. And number 1 would probably be I'm catching dubs in the academic realm.
Okay.
And then, 4 nice things for myself for the holiday season.
I agree with you guys. I'm right there with you for sure. So,
And switching gears a little bit, Mountaineer Spotlight is in studio again this week with Gray and Austen. So App State had a bend, don't break policy on defense this week. Right. They allowed 1 touchdown there in the 3rd quarter and then held them to 4 field goals. So how do you feel like that was the biggest takeaway for App State this weekend, that the defense didn't bend?
I would say one of the biggest takeaways was that, maybe they bent a little bit and they allowed points here and there, but they came up big when it mattered. They got stops when it mattered to hold them to those field goals. They got 2 interceptions on the day. Hayes and Thomas both had interceptions, which I thought was a big deal for the Mountaineers because I believe they had 7 or 10 points off of turnovers in that game. So you're adding to the scoreboard just by getting yourself extra looks there. So, yeah, I would say, the bend, don't break thing from the defense, not allowing that big play over the top or anything, was a good strategy and kind of keeping that momentum on the Mountaineer side.
For sure, I completely agree. The bend, don't break idea has really been through our entire season. Last week when we played Troy, the offense slowed down, the defense locked down, they were able to control and bend and not break. It's the same way with this week. Like Gray said, nothing over the top, holding the field goals. That's how you win football games. If you can hold them to 3 instead of 7 that many times, I feel like you can't lose.
And App State's had a great year offensively, but there's kind of been 2 key guys on the offensive side of the ball for them. We thought that it was going to be Jalen Moore all year. He ends up getting hurt on the road at Arkansas State. Darrington Evans steps in, does a phenomenal job from there on out, and Zach Thomas has been a consistent threat on that side of the ball. So between those 2 guys, I think there's a little bit of an argument. Who would you guys choose as the App State offensive MVP?
Personally, I'm going with Darrington just because coming into this season, we had questions at quarterback. Last year we had Taylor, and then we had to switch it up this year. Darrington came in, played, like we said earlier, started only 6 games all after that Jalen Moore injury. Still reached 1,000 yards. Definitely impressive, and I feel like he stepped up into a position that, not that we didn't expect him to be in, but maybe he didn't expect to be in this early in his career. So I'm giving him offensive MVP for sure.
I probably would give it to Evans as well. I think the rushing game really is the bread and butter for the App State offense. I will say this, though. Zach Thomas missed 1 game against Georgia Southern, and the rushing game was almost obsolete for the Mountaineers. The offense couldn't get anything rolling, And to have Zach Thomas in the game, just even if he's not putting up numbers, just the fact that he's a threat deep on the field, he can get the ball to his receivers. Defenses know that, and they have to account for that. So that helps Darrington Evans get the looks that he does because Zach Thomas is on the field as a threat in the passing game. When he's not, the defense can stack up that box and slow down Evans. So I would give the award to Evans for offensive MVP, but I don't think he could do it without the help of Thomas at the helm.
And Scott Satterfield has been a fantastic part of that run of success here at the FBS level. He showed that he could coach at this level and maybe even beyond. He has gotten the attention while doing that by some bigger programs. Louisville, the most notable of the new bunch this season. And he said that, he'll take the time to speak to them and give them an opportunity to make their pitch towards him. Do you guys think that would hurt the Appalachian State chances of continuing that level of success that they have enjoyed these last few seasons?
I think, well, if you look at it from a team standpoint, losing a coach shouldn't derail a program, but in a lot of cases, a coach leaving does derail a program. I don't think that we would have that issue here. And obviously with Coach Satterfield, great job that he's done here. He's going to get those looks, and this is something that, being a smaller program, we're going to have to get used to. And these coaches coming in, creating this dynasty. We saw with Jerry Moore when he won three national championships, and we got right back to where we were. Obviously, things would change if Coach Satterfield, took that job after the New Orleans Bowl. Things would change. We'd have a couple changes to make, and we'd have to do things differently. But I don't think that overall we would drop to the bottom of the Sun Belt. I don't think that we would completely change, but there would definitely be some drawbacks for sure.
I agree there.
I don't think the App would drop to the bottom, but I think losing a head coach with the talent and the ability that Scott Satterfield has would be pretty detrimental to this program. I mean, you have to think with a coach comes their playbook, their cadences. The coaching staff often follows a head coach with them from team to team in the coordinator spots as well. So you're losing a bunch of coaches. The recruits that you have coming to visit you at the program are meeting Coach Satterfield. Satterfield is the guy who shakes their hand and is asking them to come play. And if he were to leave, then all your recruits aren't even really sure who they're going to be playing for next year. Sometimes recruits back out because of that and won't come play for you anymore because they don't know who your next coach is going to be. And if you do get a new coach, you kind of have to reset the gears a little bit. They're going to come in with a new system that the players who are already here have to adapt to as well. So, yeah, I think you would see a change in the program, and potentially if there was a coaching change at Appalachian State, it would take a few years to adapt, I think, and get everybody on the same page again. Would I be surprised to see Satterfield go? I think I would. I think he is building a dynasty here, and he recognizes that. This team got a top 25 ranking this year, and they were pretty close to holding on to it for a while. So I think he understands, he can compete at this program just as well as he can anywhere else.
Absolutely. There is a level of comfortability that comes with keeping your head coach in office. And thank you guys so much for spending some time with me again this week. Coming up next on the A Game, we will give you coverage of women's basketball, track, wrestling, volleyball, and Mountaineers honored with awards. Stay with us.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, "Read your lease. No pets allowed." My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
As the fall sports season comes to a close, several Mountaineers have been recognized for their efforts this season. App State football's outside linebacker Akeem Davis-Gaither has been named the Sunbelt Conference's Defensive Player of the Week following a 14-tackle performance against Troy. Field hockey's Verl Van Hertem earned NFHCA Division I South Region second team honors. The National Field Hockey Coaches Association office announced on Monday. Women's soccer had seniors in Jessica Easley and Kat Greer on the North Carolina Collegiate Sports Information Association. Men's soccer Zyko Harris and Camden Holbrook were represented under the North Carolina Collegiate Sports Information Association, All-State second team. And wrestling's Randall Diabe was named the Southern Conference Wrestler of the Week.
The women's basketball team topped Marshall 74-52 inside the Holmes Convocation Center. The Mountaineers are on their longest win streak since the 2012-13 season and their first three-game win streak at home since 2015 and 16. Bailey Plummer recorded a stellar performance with a season-high 16 points on 7 of 10 shooting from the floor and a career-best 21 rebounds. The 21 boards are tied for the 4th highest performance on the glass in a single game in school history. In a dominating performance that led to the App's biggest win of the season, the defense put on its best performance, limiting Marshall to just 30.6% shooting from the floor and 27.6% clip from beyond the arc. The defense shut down the Thundering Herd's leading scorers Shania Gore and Kristen Mayo, who shot a combined 6 for 20 from the floor and scored 19 points. Gore only tallied 8 points for the Herd. The Black and Gold went on to suffer a 95-64 loss at ETSU on Thursday. Maddie Story recorded a team-high and season-high 20 points on 8 for 15 shooting from the field. It's the 3rd straight game in double figures for the redshirt senior and her 12th career game with at least 20 points. Maya Calder led the team in rebounding with 7 off the glass, and Ashley Polasek recorded a team-high in assists with 5. Appalachian allowed ETSU to shoot 56.2% from the floor, while it shot just 34.3% from the field and 13 of 32 from the charity stripe. The Mountaineers will look to bounce back against College of Charleston at home on Sunday at 2 p.m.
Appalachian State's men's basketball posted a 91-64 victory over Winston-Salem State on Monday evening inside the Holmes Convocation Center. Isaac Johnson tallied a game-high 19 points on 8 of 10 shooting, a game-high 7 rebounds, and a career-high 6 assists. Adrian Delph added a career-high 18 points, including a 4 of 6 mark on three-pointers, and a career-best 5 rebounds. Ronshad Shabazz finished the game with 10 points and a season-high tying 5 assists. App State went 15 of 34 from beyond the arc. The Black and Gold recorded a season-best 15 three-pointers. The Mountaineers then dropped to ECU in a heartbreaking loss, 83-81. Ronshad Shabazz finished 10 of 20 from the field and went perfect from the free throw line. He moved into 7th place on the all-time scoring list, passing Rick Howell's 1,593 points for 8th place and DJ Thompson's 1,599 points for 7th in the contest. Ronshad Shabazz scored a game-high 25 points. Justin Forrest shot 10 of 17 from the field and added 2 steals. He added 24 points as he scored over 20 in 3 games this season. Appalachian State returns to Boone for 2 consecutive home games to host Howard on Tuesday at 7 p.m., followed by a 2 p.m. game on December 8th versus North Carolina Central. Both games will be broadcasted on ESPN+.
The volleyball team suffered a 3-1 loss to Radford in the first round of the National Invitational Volleyball Championship on Thursday evening at Clemson. The Black and Gold see their season come to a close with a 22-9 record. Kara Spicer paced the Mountaineer offense with 16 kills on a .343 hitting mark and 4 total blocks. Emma Longley added 13 kills and 9 digs. The Mountaineers conclude the season with 22 victories, marking the most for the program since the 2015 season. App State also won the Sunbelt East Division title for the first time since the conference moved to a division format in the 2016 season.
The wrestling team fell 28-7 to number 15 UNC last Sunday in Varsity Gym. The Mountaineers participated in their first home duel of the 2018-19 season in front of a standing room-only crowd. The Mountaineers' closest losses came in the 174-pound and the heavyweight division. Thomas Flitz was tied at 5-all entering the 3rd period against Devin Kane, and Kerry Miller was tied 1-all with UNC's 13th-ranked Corey Daniel before Daniel registered a takedown in the closing seconds. The wrestling team fell 25-16 to Ohio in Varsity Gym just 5 days later. The App State heavyweight Kerry Miller opened the dual meet with a pin worth 6 points. The Black and Gold trailed 25-12 before Randall Diabe posted a 12-4 decision at 197 pounds in the final match of the night. Appalachian also got wins from redshirt freshman Jonathan Milner and senior Michael Elliott. App State will return to action Tuesday night at NC State and appear in Varsity Gym against Oklahoma on December 16th.
The indoor men's track and field team opened the 2018-19 season with a 2nd-place finish at the Appalachian Open on Friday and Saturday. The Black and Gold tallied 107 points in the meet and won a total of 5 events on the weekend. Peter Ken captured the weight throw, covering 15.13 meters with his toss. Michael Albert placed 3rd in the event with a PR toss of 15.05 meters. Tristan Shaver claimed 1st in the pole vault, clearing 4.90 meters, and Elliot Graves won the 55-meter hurdle in a PR time of 6.56 seconds. Jabari Johnson won the 55-meter dash with a PR time of 6.43 seconds, and the 300-meter dash in 34.51 seconds, setting a new home center record in the process. Graves placed second in the 300-meter dash in a PR time of 35.15 seconds. App State took 3 of the 4 top spots in the high jump. Jordan Dale placed second with a 2.01 meter mark. Daniel Laufenberger was third with a PR height of 2.01 meters, and Andrew Underall was fourth with a mark of 1.91 meters. App State will be back in action after the holidays on January 11th and 12th at the ETSU Track and Field Invitational.
The Appalachian State women's track and field team took second place at the season-opening Appalachian Invitational on Friday and Saturday. The Black and Gold recorded 132 points in the 10-team meet. Ashley Musciati won the weight throw with a PR toss of 16.98 meters. She also posted a toss of 42 feet and 6.5 inches in the shot put, which took first place. Hassani Burris won the triple jump with a mark of 11.48 meters in her first collegiate meet. Burris recorded a second place finish in the long jump, covering just over 5 meters. The Mountaineers took the top 2 spots in the 1-mile run. Hannah Ratcliffe crossed first in 5 minutes and 12 seconds, with Kylie Frady placing in second in 5 minutes and 19 seconds. In the pole vault, Hannah Emery won the event, clearing 3.66 meters. Lainey Honeycutt's finish in a tie for second came with a 3.51 meter jump, and Sophia San Miguel was fourth with a height of 3.36 meters. Jelani Smith recorded the 7th fastest time in program history in the 300-meter dash, winning the event in 40.47 seconds, and was second in the 55-meter dash with a time of 7.19 seconds. The Mountaineers will compete after the holidays at the ETSU Track and Field Invitational on January 11th and January 12th.
Now it's time for our Player of the Week. Our Player of the Week this week is running back Darrington Evans. Evans finished the Sunbelt title game with 17 carries for 111 yards on the ground, as well as 107 yards in the return game. Those 107 yards, Austin, included a 95-yard kickoff return, which set up a Marcus Williams Jr. touchdown right up on the goal line, a big possession for the Mountaineers. The 111 yards rushing was enough for Evans to crack the 1,000-yard rushing mark this season, which is impressive considering he only started 6 games, all of which were in the back half of the season after that Jalen Moore injury. The sophomore capped off his first-team All-Sunbelt season with 1,166 total yards, 6.5 yards per carry, and 8 total touchdowns. It was a monster year for this guy, Darrington Evans.
Absolutely, and Darrington might have won the Sunbelt Championship MVP, but I think it's time that we bring up some A-game MVPs that deserve to be noticed. Our 2 producers, Kelly Hunter and Susanna Cornegie, they will be graduating in December, so just in a couple weeks, and we are super, super, super sad to see them go. Love to see where they're going, though, and they worked hard. We really appreciate everything they did, and we love them with all our hearts.
Absolutely. Love them very much. And, Austin and I, we're the 2 that show up on camera maybe, but the real work, the real reason this show functions the way that it does is because of Susanna Cornegie and Kelly Hunter. Awesome, awesome people. Loved working with them every day. So we actually want to bring on Susanna and Kelly right now.
Get up here.
Get them a little screen time. They certainly deserve it. Come on. But that is going to do it for all of us here on this episode and final episode of this season of the A-Game. I'm Gray Salter.
I'm Austin Lopp. See you next year.